Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the 22nd episode of the SuperNova Show. And I am your host, Colton Roberts. Today, we've got, the usual, the consistent cast, Mr. Robert Kastner. And we're going to talk some Schmoedown Versus and then do some predictions, do a little time travel, do some predictions for the Schmoedown Battlefield that takes place on May 28th. We're going to do that. Then we're going to discuss Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I have an opinion on that. That's going to be interesting. And then do some insight onto the Bad Batch episode 5. And I'm going to go ahead and bring out Mr. Robert Kastner.
It's me.
Hey.
No hat on my head, but that's because it's a holiday weekend, and I'm not as serious right now.
Good. Yeah, it's 4 days off of work. That's good.
Very happy about it. Trust me, it's been a very fun day.
Oh yes, I feel that.
Yeah.
Completely.
No, it's been great.
So how you been?
Busy as usual. Work ramps up every so bit. My fan league schedule is always difficult, and I had to watch a lot of deep cut movies this week for Full Metal. And when I do that, I take copious notes. So literally, and it's probably even worse than this, every time I watch one of those movies, it takes me twice as long to get through it.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So how does, like, as a person who I've never done that, I did it for opening night.
Yeah.
And now that match just came out on opening night trivia, so we can technically talk about it. But besides that, no, I don't really take notes. I just remember watching. Like, having to take notes sounds awful. Like, doing that, what I had to do for Ready to Rumble on every movie ever sounds horrific.
This is how I write. Those are my notes. I have 30 some odd pages about 16 movies in my hand.
Yeah, I'm glad I have stepped away. Thank you for that.
It was tough, and I was happy for the holiday because it's nice to rejuvenate, because that one really kicked my butt along with work.
Yep. So I have a question. So how many movies do you think you watch every week? For fun versus for trivia?
No, I don't. So sometimes I'm not watching a lot of movies. I'm more so just studying, and I'm just watching kind of the stuff that makes me happy during the week, which might be movies, it might be TV. It's usually TV more than anything, or sports. Kind of makes me happy for the most part. I would say per week now I probably average, I don't know, it's probably like 8 to 10. Or maybe I'm being a little high. Maybe it's more like 5 to 8.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
It's a life of a movie trivia player who plays in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, whew. I'm trying to think. Like, I do watch a lot of TV. Me and my wife watch a whole lot of TV.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if I might watch like one movie a week. I think. We watched the animated Tarzan movie this week because my wife, the boys have never seen it before, so we watched it. Yeah, like, so hint, if you're ever going to want to have, if you ever decide to have children, there's going to be movies that they want to watch from your childhood that your nostalgia thinks it's great, but then when you have to rewatch it as an adult, you're like, ooh, this is not good.
Oh, I absolutely know what you're talking about.
Like a few weeks ago, months ago, however long, time is weird, especially in a pandemic. Last week seems like forever, but yeah, like we recently rewatched The Wizard of Oz. I probably haven't watched it in 20 years. Man, is it not a good movie.
Whoa.
Like, it's so boring. Like,
I will admit there's a lot of slow parts in it.
yeah, I don't, yeah, it's so boring in so many parts. And I'm like, and so many things, like, I guess as a kid, I thought all I'm trying to think of what the political correctly term is for the village of,
Little people?
yep, little people. There you go. The like
The
they,
Lollipop Guild.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they all make that. I forgot that it was like they went to this branch of them and they kind of say and then they welcome them, and then this branch of them does it, and then this branch does it, and then the mayor does it.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember that from me being a kid. I don't know if I just didn't pay attention because, of course, as a child, you probably don't pay attention as much.
No.
When I was watching, I was like, they are going to do this for the next forever, and it was so annoying. But
it's also one of those movies where, like a lot of movies, you kind of are like at the beginning, the first 15 minutes, you're like, just get to Oz already. Honestly, I don't want to stay in Kansas. Kansas looks bleak and dumb. Can we get out of there, please?
now I will say, like, the fact that that movie was all black and white, and then they have since, went back and colored all the Oz stuff.
Yeah.
It is amazing to see that someone out there took the time to color every single little frame of that movie.
I like it. I've noticed it going back and watching classics that get recorded on TV that they've gone in and they've colorized it. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's like a sun-drenched thing and things look like it's bleeding, and I hate it. It's like when my wife and I watch Rear Window, they colorized it, and I'm like, it looks so bright and weird, and it's not supposed to do that because it's a Hitchcock thriller, So it kind of ruins that aspect of it sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that's all I've been doing is working and watching TV, and I watched Tarzan, and that's pretty much it.
I will say, so I've watched 8 movies this week already because of that, because I had to do that. I was doing 2 a day, and I was taking notes. So you can imagine, like, the night before the match that I had, I'd watch a Otto Preminger movie from the 50s or 60s, and it was 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I was up to like after 2 a.m. trying to get as much in as I could because I had to do my match the next day, and I wanted to try to get in all the movies I could. It was tough. It's very tough. Or like when I did Fandom and I had to do Pixar rewatch, and I watched like, I don't know, 12 Pixar movies in the span of like 4 days.
Okay, so I was gonna mention this. I don't know how you feel about Pixar now that you've said it.
Mm-hmm.
Our next series after Wizarding World was going to be Pixar.
Oh, good.
You just did that, and I don't want you to have to, because I'm going to rewatch all the movies.
I mean, I just did it, so I'm probably not going to like watch them during the week. I'll just use what I remember from them.
Yeah, and we're not going to do 23 weeks straight.
Oh God, no.
That's insane. So what we're going to do,
like all the cars together, are you going to do in universes?
Yep, we're going to do that. It's like the series. Because if not, we'll be here till this time next year talking about Pixar movies, and I really don't want to do that. But yeah, like, all right, so let's move on to some Schmoedown stuff. They had Schmoedown Versus.
They did.
That was super interesting. Like
matches were very good, both of them, which is nice.
Yes, they were. Let's find my. Yep. Marisol won. That was
barely.
Yeah.
Much to probably our surprise. The big thing about that match was, I mean, Janine was perfect going into the last question. She hadn't missed a question. She was incredible that match.
Yep.
And Marisol was equally as incredible, especially because she got opponent's choice and she went 7 of 8 in it. So, I mean, it's crazy how well they both did in that. Not that they wouldn't, because they're great, but the level of play to that, I was very surprised about.
Yep. And then we got Kalinowski versus Markanovic. And
we have to talk about this match a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's things I noticed in it that upset me a little and made me question things. And then one thing that reminded me of you, and I bet you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I actually really want to know what you think of what reminded you of me.
Okay, so the first thing is coming right off the bat. Their first 10 questions were like 9 of the 10 were like new categories. They're like really pushing these new categories, and I don't like them as much personally. So to me, it ruins my ability to play along, not because I don't necessarily know the answers, but just because I don't give a crap about the movies that they're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that because I make that comment a lot on if I can play along or whatever.
I thought it was very stark in this one. It was stark in Amaru's match, and he mentioned it on here, I believe, that they really was like 50-50 or even skewing more towards the newer ones. This one, it was like Mike had DC and they spun DC for the betting round. But I mean, like, that was it. Everything else was kind of skewing on the newer category. The part that reminded me of you was that Mara took Transformers. And in your TMG match against Antonio, they asked the exact same question about which Transformers movie ended with the I'm Optimus Prime. For all of my creators out there, leave Earth alone. I'm coming for you. They asked the exact same question.
Yep, they sure did. And yeah, I got it right that time.
I bet you did. Yeah, that was in your match. That was the only one I knew, interestingly enough. Like, cold. I could guess a couple of the others, but that one was the one I knew cold, just based on what I remember about the movies. And then, you know, the swing thing was just the betting round that Mike was a little more confident. I think if Mara had been behind or if they'd been tied, maybe she would have bet a little bit more. The other thing that I thought was weird was the speed round. There were like 4 or 5 questions related to movie release dates.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Like, those are such weird questions too. Like,
yeah.
I
honestly thought it was strange that they asked so many. I was like, what was the writers, was PJ and the guys, were they just like on a movie release date binge?
Yeah.
And during that set, I couldn't tell. And then, you know, obviously we were surprised that we both picked Mara, and she was great all the way through. She just got a hellish 5-pointer, which is something that I had studied a very minuscule amount, but I could not remember when I watched it myself. That particular question about Son of the Stupid Mask. Like,
I remember the last time they played was 2017, right?
Was it then?
2018.
It was 18.
Yeah. So I remember, like, the last question, she gets really mad in their match and she like hands in the belt. And that was not the attitude here. Like,
no, she just didn't know it. She's in a much better space.
And she congratulated him and she was like, yeah, sorry, I just don't know it. And I was like, hey, that's better. And then during the post-match interview, she's talking about, I have to come back because I also have to be a 3-time champion. I'm like, oh, yes, that's so much better than the last time we had the situation. And I'm like, yes.
I think digital is great for Mara.
Yeah.
I think it really, like, helps her. I think she's great in person, and she thrived in live events. But I think digital takes a bit of weight off her mentally in terms of like having to be up for those types of things. And I think it does a lot for her. She gets the comfort of doing it at home, which is nice. Yeah, but the matches weren't the only things from that.
Yeah,
that's important. And that this thing is what's going to lead us into talking about the Battlefield predictions, because really the most important thing from that was that we learned about a certain retirement.
Yeah, Andraco retiring is, I don't know. Like, I hate it.
Mhm.
Like, have you watched any of the matches from this week? No. Okay, so they announced on Monday/Wednesday, according to if you're a patron or not, but that Grace was talking to Roxy and Jeff and was like, I'm gonna have to vacate the titles from you. And they're like, why? We'll find another partner. And she's like, no, I gotta look and see who the next challenger would be, and I have to give them the belts. And then she opens like something, and she's like, wait, corruption. She's like, yeah, let me find you a substitute partner. And I like that they're keeping that consistent over the thing. But now I'm like, ooh, who's gonna be the partner on Friday? Like,
They wouldn't rearrange teams for this, right? Or would they?
honestly, all right. So I could totally see them. Yeah, because I think they're gonna let a new person. So I have two predictions. I'm gonna let you see. Like, do you have any predictions on who will be?
I mean, if they're rearranging teams, I think Jacoby should be. I think Jacoby should be the guy.
Yeah. All right. So that was my first prediction. Was Jacoby.
Yeah.
My second prediction is them finding some way somehow to split the points 3.5 and 3.5 and reuniting the Patriots.
Oh.
Yep, and putting one half of the team's belts with the Finstock Exchange and one half.
Wouldn't that invalidate a lot of stuff? Wouldn't that create a lot of headaches for things, though?
Yeah, but I guess because that's the only team that actually existed before this. And I think, like, Christian has always talked about last year he wanted, because they were going to have an event in Boston, and whoever the number one contenders were at the time weren't going to be able to show. Well, the storyline was they weren't going to be able to show up, and the Patriots were going to come down and face founding fathers for the championship. But because COVID happened, they weren't able to do that. And even though JTE was not drafted last year, no, yeah, he was. He was drafted by Roxy and then traded to I don't know who. But they by that time they wouldn't have been on the same faction. But he was still cool with reuniting the Patriots in Boston. The reaction. So it's possible that if they didn't know, I don't know how long they've known Andranko was.
My guess is weeks.
Yeah, like if that's the case, like if it's a recent development, like if it's like a 2 month ago development, then yeah, they could absolutely be like, ooh, let's see who's the best on the stars to pair with Jeff.
Or even Janine, given what she just did in the match, wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, that was my wild card pick is pairing Janine up with him. But I don't want that to be the way that Janine wins her first championship.
I can guarantee you if it is, a lot of people would probably give her shit for it.
Yep, absolutely. And if it's JT or Jacoby, JT's already been team's champion for well over a year, and it makes sense for like a story thing. And Jacoby, he's a rookie, so it's fine. It happens. He has a long enough time to cement his legacy.
Yeah.
In the league. But and then of course I could always see them do something like what they did with Rachel and have it be a 2-on-1 match. And then just somehow say that Jeff's points in round 1 are doubled. Because I think Jeff would totally love that. Like that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so much is him to be team champion by himself.
Yeah.
So it's all according to like, is it storyline? Do they give Jeff the opportunity, or do they give Roxy the opportunity to choose a partner for him? And if it's Jeff, I could see him going by himself or choosing JTE. If it's Roxy choosing, then I could see Jacoby or Janine.
Do you think that this adds to the hype of the Battlefield, or do you think it sort of ruins the sanctity of this supposed teams match that was going to happen, which would have been great because it was going to be a rematch of a fantastic, spectacular,
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't super excited about it. I was more excited about the corruption and danger zone match
yeah.
than I was the Shazam and Odd Couple match because it was supposed to happen last month. That was when I was hyped up for it, and when it didn't happen, which I'm guessing it didn't happen because of this stuff that's going down now, and they just haven't found him a partner yet that works well with him. I'm assuming that's the reason why. I mean, you know what they say about assumptions. But yeah, so that's the only thing I can figure is like I would have been more excited for it a month ago than I am now. But I am definitely more excited about it now to see what goes on. Like it would have been one of those things where I would have intently watched the first match, and the second match I probably would have I would have watched it still, but it would have been something like on in the background while I finished the Friends documentary or something. And now I'm gonna have to watch it to see how it goes, which means I don't get to finish it, the Friends documentary. And I want to find someone who likes it to bring on the show.
Well,
because no one I know that is on the internet space likes the show Friends.
well, I'm sorry I couldn't be that person for you.
It's okay. It happens. Yeah, I realized being on in this space that not a lot of people like Friends that I'm friends with on the internet.
Sorry, just doesn't go hand in hand. I know Lady Gaga's in it.
Yeah, I know Justin Bieber, I think, is in it as well. But I don't care about that. Like I care about seeing like the cast and like the recurring characters that come on and stuff like that. That would have been good. Yeah. That's good. But to go back to Schmoedown stuff,
we're gonna make predictions for.
Yes.
Go back in time to make predictions.
Yeah. All right.
The Wayne's World.
Yep. It's hey, let's call this Friday at 7:47 p.m.
Okay.
13 minutes before the show starts.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? Danger Zone versus Corruption, and then Jeff Snyder, mystery opponent or partner. Don't know what their name is going to be. Will it still be the Odd Couple? Have no idea. Versus Shazam. So what you got?
Maybe Jeff will get somebody. I'm just thinking about this because the Odd Couple was Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. Maybe he'll get somebody who's an older person, and maybe they'll be grumpy old men. Right? I don't know. We kind of talked about this last week, so my predictions from last week kind of still hold in my mind. I think Corruption will beat Danger Zone. Again, just based on team camaraderie and consistency with each other. And I know you don't think Mike would be as good, but I think Chance is good enough. And Mike is good enough that they could squeak one out. And then obviously when you have a wild card situation that's going to happen on a team for a title, your tendency is to skew towards the team that and is well established. We had already kind of picked Shazam anyway, so I'm just going to keep with that and figure Shazam's taking their belts back. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, now I still think like now that he's been studying IG a lot recently. So if they put IG on that wheel, since they're allowed 2 categories, they can put both of them. Chance and him are both good in IG. So if they do that, Ben, if they
Dan's been studying it too, right?
Yeah. But I mean, if they're just going off the fact that it's 2 people that are good in it versus the one person who's been kind of studying it, and then Ben who does not, I think if Danger Zone lands on an IG category, they might be in trouble.
Well, I mean, not only is he been studying it, but he's in the faction with the best cadre of geek players to help with stuff. So if they knew what was on the wheel, they knew IG, they would probably help them study with it. So I think that mitigates it a little bit, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that is a good point. They do have Robert, and they do have Mara, and they do have Smets.
Yeah.
Technically. So yeah, like now that you raised that point, like I had switched to corruption, but now you made that point, and now I'm switching back to my original point of Danger Zone because I just think together Danger Zone are a more formidable team.
Well, that's good. We don't want to be too lockstep in sync in all these because that doesn't make it as fun.
Yeah,
we're not opposing.
And then now I'm gonna go. Well, we're gonna go against what I'm thinking. Jeff plus whoever is gonna win.
Wow, you're rolling the dice, huh? You're
Yep.
really throwing the bones.
Like, man, if it's someone like Zaflurtenflaus or someone, I'm gonna.
That would be. They wouldn't do that. That would just. That if they do that, I'm already. I know we do Schmoedown on here, but I've been leaning away from Schmoedown every bit, like little by little. If they make it Zaflurtenflaus, I'm just gonna say that they don't really give a crap about matches anymore, and it's really gonna shake my confidence in how much they care about matches. If they do that.
Yeah, especially like the main event of your.
Yes. I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, like of course, like I would choose them, and then something dumb like that would happen.
It's true. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to do the wild card thing because you never know what's going to happen.
But I mean, heck, even the option of Jeff choosing himself by himself, that might be really bad because round 3 is when Jeff cracks sometimes. So if he
in this
does
case,
that,
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if he had someone else to play off of, he would do better. But that's what happens to him in singles. And if he's playing by himself, he doesn't have that person.
And he has to do the whole speed round on his own.
Well, yeah, that's true as well. I don't know how that. I guess they would double the points in that as well.
No, they would just give him all the 10 questions. It's just, sometimes, and maybe he would like that because it means he wouldn't have to rely on somebody for that too, and he would trust his own speed round confidence or whatever. But it could be tough. You got more questions you have to answer on your own.
Yeah. So I still go with Jeff and question mark.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah.
I respect you a lot for this. I just don't. I don't have the chutzpah to do it.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking. I guess it would be at Collision. The winner of these two matches go together.
Play each other. Yeah.
And I think at that point, unless like if Jeff wins with like a magic partner, then it will be a harder debate between them and Danger Zone.
Yep.
But I think if he wins by himself, he's losing against Danger Zone. If he wins with just some whoever, unless it's like a really good player, I think Danger Zone is getting the championships at
Collision.
Yep, at Collision. Now, of course, if Shazam wins, I could see. I don't know if I could see them beating Danger Zone, but I think they have a better chance at beating Danger Zone.
I think that'd be a really fun test of knowledge between, Dan and Bateman versus them. I think that would make for a better collision than if what I predict happens and it's Corruption versus Shazam.
Yeah,
although that's a rematch too, so that would be fun.
Which, like, Founding Fathers, if I remember correctly, TKO'd Shazam. And again, Bateman is a much better player than Roca.
Yes.
So if Founding Fathers could do it, I think Danger Zone.
Shazam, this is not the same Shazam, though.
That's true.
It's really not.
Yeah, but I guess we will totally see, and
we'll keep tallies. We haven't been keeping tallies of our results. Maybe we'll start keeping some tallies on this.
Yes. I would love that. And hey, you people out there, I mean, you've already seen who Jeff Snyder's chosen. Yeah. Hey, let us know in the comments if one of us was right.
Yeah.
We chose. And if it's just no one that we even talked about, shame on us. We didn't think about it come blast us in the comments.
What we should have done is we each should have drafted the entirety of the rock stars so that at least one of us could be right, more than likely, unless they do something off the wall like you had mentioned with JT.
Yeah. All right. So let's. Do you have anything fan league?
I mean, tournaments are still going on. Warzone and Fandom, the summer series, are still going on, so that's cool. They're ramping up until they're getting close to the championship breakdown, and I know there will be a teams tournament and stuff coming up, I believe. And then Full Metal's ramping up a bit too. They're having more teams matches. They have a singles match and teams match now. You should have seen the singles match that came out. My singles match came out this week against Ryan Payne. That was fun. And then the teams match would have been out on Friday, typically. So there should be one. I don't know if the holiday weekend screwed that up, but it's really more so about what's going on in multiplex, because that's tournaments always make things more exciting. They're most of the way through round one in both of them. And I know that, round 2 matches have filmed and they're getting ready to start doing the quarters, the round 3s. So while those tournaments will not be done till I imagine the end of summer, which is why it's the summer series tournament, they are ramping up and it's really exciting. 32 person tournaments are crazy. If you think about it, it's ridiculous, but they're fun to play in. And I've been able to play in both so far. And it's been nice.
All right. Yeah, I have no updates. I played in the Ontel match with Jordan Owens.
By the way, that was a slobber knocker. You guys, your deep cuts really got to you both, I will say.
Yeah, I took copious amounts of notes for his movie. I went off my gut of that's my favorite movie and I didn't watch it. I didn't take a single note on Return of the King. I was just like, okay, I got this. All the things that I'm thinking of that they'll ask questions about. Yep, those will be the things. They were not the things. And that made me mad. But hey, it's okay. But yeah, the match was good. Yeah, I haven't actually watched it. I just experienced it live. But I told Adelaide that I would be more than happy to try again because I lost my singles virginity in that league.
Yeah.
So I would that is not a league. I told him, Geek is stressful. Geek is so stressful.
It really is.
And that singles, my goal in that match was to score 3 points. I did better than that. I don't remember what it was, 8, something like that.
No, you scored I thought you scored 11 or something.
Okay, I do not remember, but now
you did better in round 1 than I would have thought you did. That was impressive.
Yeah, I did it. I thought so as well. I was like, this is actually going pretty well. Yeah. Maybe I do know things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my goal, was 3 points, and I destroyed that. So now my next goal is to answer a question correctly in round 3. Because we talked about our little kerfuffle that happened with the Sound of Music.
Yeah.
That Jordan gave the answer before I could answer, and they threw out the question.
Yes.
And I knew that, so I would have got at least, I think that was my 3-pointer. Yeah, it was my 3-pointer. And yeah, no. So I would have at least got that. But
yeah, you didn't get oh man, I can't remember what yours was. Dang it. Whatever. It's fine. It was like a 90s movie, if I recall correctly. I just can't remember what it was. Oh, wait, did you have Last of the Mohicans? No, that was somebody else. No, that was Jake and Jake Marangoni and Bill's match. Sorry. I watched that one more recently than yours. So
But yeah, I will totally play singles again in any league that will have me. But I'll go ahead and tell you, out there in the internet, that I'm the biggest jobber. Unless I play someone like David Garcia, who we have both talked about that we both job in singles, I can play him and do okay.
Yeah.
So, David, if you're watching this, I got you.
Bring it.
bring it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Fan league wise, like everything I've got is done. So it's really nice to just relax and I can watch stupid movies with the kids and not have to worry about, oh, I should have been paying attention when I watched those Transformers movies. Dang it, Antonio. No, like I had watched those movies in the last like 6 months. Before that, didn't pay attention at all. Knew that the Ark was something in the Dark of the Moon. Forgot it was the name of the ship. Thought it was the name of the pillars. So
I was surprised you got Sector 7, right?
Oh yeah, that one I absolutely knew because besides Bumblebee is my favorite of those movies because John Cena and I got to support my wrestling guy. But then it's the first one. The first one's the only one that has a plot that is consistent. Like I remember,
it's the easiest one to not get confused about because 2 through 5 are like all over the place, and I'm being nice when I say that.
Yeah, and 2 through 5 like retcon a lot of stuff. They're like, haha, this thing happened, and yes, it totally exists in the other movies. You just weren't paying attention, and I hate that.
My friend from college visited me in 2009 after I came back from studying abroad, and we went and saw Revenge of the Fallen in theaters, and I feel bad that was the movie that we ended up seeing. He didn't mind it, but man, Robot Heaven is the most hilarious thing in all those movies.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. I hate those movies. Like my sons love them, and my best friend, like back a few years ago, I used to drink a lot of the sauce, as these adults say. Okay. So my best friend, he would always, when a new Transformers movie would come open up at theaters, he'd be like, "Hey, you want to go see Transformers?" I'm like, "Absolutely not." He'd be like, "I'll buy us dinner and drinks," and I'm like, "That's how you get me to watch a stupid movie, right there." But yeah, like I remember being in the theater to watch Spider-Man: Homecoming, and The Last Night came on. They put the wrong one in there, and I was like, "No, not again, not again." And
like a cosmic joke.
Yeah, like okay, so movies. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, because we got like 20 minutes before I have to let you leave.
Yeah.
So I know Amaru said that this is the best Harry Potter movie.
I would be in agreement with this. Yes.
Okay. I do not agree. Like.
Are you going to say you don't like this movie?
No, I like it.
Okay.
I do not think it is the best. I definitely don't think it's the worst. It's no first Fantastic Beast movie. But like it doesn't, maybe as a person who, again, like we're going to talk about this like every week. Like as someone who read the books, like they cut out a lot of the Marauder stuff.
Yeah.
In it, and that was the stuff I liked in the books a lot. And then like the Fidelius charm and why Sirius went to prison, that all kind of is not in the movie. And
I will say that one of the parts I really like about the book is the extent to which they do the explanation when they finally get to the Shrieking Shack. It's like 2 chapters of material that they go through, and it's very interesting to hear it all lined out, all the backstory, all the pathos, and you don't get to get much of the pathos in this movie. I will say that.
Yeah, this is the one movie that if you took it out, it doesn't really have that big of an impact on the overall story of the 8, because minus a few times where they reference Voldemort.
Well, yeah. I think that's why a lot of people like it, though. Yeah,
that's the one reason why I like the overarching thing of the series is Voldemort's trying to get Harry. And this one is the most, like, even the books, they explain all of Peter Pettigrew's little things and the reason why he did it and its relation to Voldemort. So then whenever he picks up in the next movie and he's with, crazy baby Voldemort, it makes sense. This movie doesn't really connect that. Like Peter just turns back into his rat form and runs away, and then he just appears in the next movie with Voldemort. Yeah. And like so, in context of the universe, I don't like it. I will say, Gary Oldman is amazing. Mm-hmm. He is such a good Sirius Black.
He really is.
Like,
and as I'm sure Amaru will say next week when we talk about this and 4, because his favorite person is Lupin. David Thewlis as Lupin is incredible. I think these were 2 very inspired choices. I think the reason a lot of people like this movie and think it's the best is the addition of those 2. Alfonso Cuarón directed it, and you can tell, and it has a deft hand with the direction. And it's the first movie where the main cast, the main 3, aren't kids anymore, and you can see them as fully fledged people and actors, and the acting is better as a result of it. So I think that's why a lot of people consider it the best one.
Now, I will say, this is one thing I love about the movie that you don't really get when you're reading a book. Emma Watson punching Tom Felton in the face is one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a Harry Potter movie.
It's great, and I think this is the first time you get real emotional stakes in something, like when they watch and are trying to free Buckbeak, and you know that he's gonna die, and you don't get to see the death because it's a PG-13 movie or whatever. But you can feel more emotional weight in that than you could in most everything you had seen up to that point in Harry Potter movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. To Michael Gambon, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but
Michael Gambon, yeah.
I know that was a really hard role to fill. Like, Richard Harris was great.
Very good.
He was very how I thought of Dumbledore when I read the books.
That's really what it is, right? It's the stark contrast between their acting.
Yeah, and 3, Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, he hasn't quite got it yet. By Half-Blood.
Oh, I mean, it's really bad in Goblet of Fire, as people know.
Yeah, by Half-Blood Prince, if you just ignore the parts with Dumbledore in 3 and 4, and you just watch 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8, you could totally think that was all the same character. 3 and 4 really are dramatic.
5. You left 5 out of there.
Yeah, you don't really see him as much.
No, but he plays the standoffish version of Dumbledore fairly well.
Yeah, that is very true. But I'm saying the 3 and 4 are the most different. 5 is what Dumbledore should be in those situations, and then he disappears. Fawkes teleports him away, and he disappears. And then he comes back for the battle with Voldemort, and then, does all that. But 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8 all seem like the same person, and 3 and 4 kind of seem like they're not quite there yet. He doesn't quite know what's going on, which, of course, Richard Harris died, so I'm not blaming it on that. Things happen.
Michael Gambon is a very accomplished British actor as well, much like Richard Harris was before him.
Yeah, and then, of course, there's things like Ian McKellen tried to be Dumbledore, but apparently Richard Harris did not appreciate his acting, so he did not accept the role because he didn't think Richard Harris would like him doing it, which I'm like, that at least that's respectful of the person that even though he doesn't like you, you respect him enough to know he wouldn't like you replacing him. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be too much like Gandalf if he was Dumbledore. So I'm glad they didn't do anything like that, and I'm glad they didn't do, because I know there were talks of Christopher Lee back in the day doing it, and I think that would remind me too much of Saruman. So yeah, like this was a good addition. I do like the movie. I think it's better than the first one. I like the second one a whole lot. I think it might even be better than 4. Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Can we go back to something? Are you saying that Chamber of Secrets is better than this movie?
all right. In my personal opinion, yes.
Wow. You're the first person I've ever heard to say that ever.
Like I'm about to rank my movies in just a second.
Oh.
I'm gonna talk. This pen sucks. All right, we're just gonna. Man, that's the part of me not doing trivia anymore. All my good pens are not in my office
I need to
anymore.
have cool 34 pack handy like I do. Do you want me to just give mine? Because I think I can just rattle them off. I think mine go Prisoner of Azkaban. I think Half Blood Prince is 2. Goblet of Fire. Deathly Hallows Part 2. Deathly Hallows Part 1. Order of the Phoenix. Then probably like Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and then Fantastic Beasts, and then Crimes of Grindelwald. That's how I would do it. Something like that. Or I would put Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, Chamber of Secrets, maybe at the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
That was off the cuff, by the way. I'm not sure that if I really thought about it, that would be my list. But I definitely think that my top 2 are Prisoner of Azkaban and Half Blood Prince.
Yeah, I am trying to list this out. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good, but like again, like I don't think it's the best. Which I've heard a lot of people say that, and I've rewatched it, and I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing. And I'm one of those people that I hate that I can't distinguish the written word from the movie when it's so close together. Like I can do it with Lord of the Rings because man, does Peter Jackson take liberties with that. And when I was younger, I couldn't, but now that I'm older, I'm like, well, yeah, he had to. But then he didn't have to make The Hobbit 3 movies. He did not.
Not at all. It could have just been 1 and it would have been fine.
Yep. Whereas
or if 2, as I've heard some people saying, I guess that would have been okay.
Yeah, I think it could have been it was what? The first movie was what, 3 hours? 2.5 hours?
It's like 2.5, yeah.
Yeah, I think it could have been a solid, like, Zack Snyder movie, a 4-hour movie, and it would have been fine.
I mean,
all 3.
I mean, all the Lord of the Rings movies are what, 220 to 3 hours?
Yeah.
And those books are much denser than The Hobbit.
Yeah, and
you can figure that away.
Honestly, if you go by the Lord of the Rings movies, they could probably be 2 movies a piece for those books.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I'm saying. It's like he extended where he didn't need to, and he cut also probably where he didn't have to. This is exciting. Can't wait for this unveiling.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people like 5. 5 is the one where I was most aware of the books to movies stuff. And I didn't like 5. I like it a little bit better now, but because of how different it is than the book, it makes me upset. So that's why I have it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So mine is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 at number 1.
All right.
Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix at number 2.
Okay.
Harry Potter and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets at number 3.
Oh my gosh, this is the highest I've ever heard in a list ever.
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire at number 4.
Okay.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban at number 5.
That's the lowest I've ever heard Prisoner of Azkaban.
Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald at number 6. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince at number 7. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 at number 8.
Wow.
Philosopher's Stone at 9, and then Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them at number 10.
Wow. That's quite a unique list of rankings you have there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep this so when I can tell Amaru about it.
You should. I can't wait to hear what he thinks about.
Oh, he's gonna rip me to shreds.
Oh, he definitely will.
Yep.
I think my list will probably be closer to his, but not exact.
Yeah, like I love like I know a lot of people say they don't like the Fantastic Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah, I hate that movie.
I love that movie with a fiery passion. Like every time like a deep cut round comes in a trivia match and they choose Crimes of Grindelwald because no one likes it, I'm like, these are my questions, and I like
go back and watch Untitled Singles with Anthony and Alex, because that was one of the deep cut movies.
Ooh, okay, I will definitely do that. But yeah, I love that movie. Love like. There's so many like nice little Easter eggs in it, which we'll get to in 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Or something. 7 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on to the
battle. Point is that I think it's great. You think it's pretty good.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Like I just don't think it's the best. It's like
not only do you not think it's the best, you don't have it in the top 5.
And no, right? I had it as number 5.
Oh, okay. You don't have it in the top 4.
Yeah, no, I did not. And yeah, so that's a thing. Let's move on to TV.
Spoilers.
Yes, yeah. Go watch it. That'd be great. Oh my lord, this episode 1. I have never seen a Rancor be so cute. And then immediately, as soon as we see Bib Fortuna, feel so sad because that thing, Luke Skywalker kills that thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, aw, Luke, man. If you had seen it looking like that, you would not have killed it. But I understand why you did, because it's freaky and big and it wanted to eat your brain.
And we found out it was a girl.
Yep.
Which was interesting. This had the Mandalorian giving Baby Yoda a Grogu name. That's how I felt about this. I was like, oh, so we're just trying to we're filling in gaps. We're giving personalities and things to creatures that we didn't necessarily care about in that way as much. And that's what we're doing here with Moochie.
Like, I remember finishing it Friday morning at 5:45 in the morning. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder if that was always its name, and there's some book that says that, and that something like Alex Damon or Andrew DeMolanta knew that, so this would be less surprising. But I had no idea. I had no idea it was going to be a Rancor, nothing like that. So when they're going after the little girl, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then they're like, that's Moochie. And then they're like,
Moochie.
What?
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, dear Lord. And then when you see Bib Fortuna later, and I'm like, oh.
You knew it was him in the hologram, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I did too. I was like, it's a hood and they're speaking Huddies. This is probably Bib Fortuna.
Yeah. But I do like that this episode, it does kind of tie together. I know they were at some point were going to become mercenaries or bounty hunters or whatever.
That's the only job for them.
Yeah, and I like that this is the beginning of it, which means we may see Boba Fett somewhere because, he's still a little kid at this time. Yeah. And any chance that they can get put in other things that we recognize, they'll totally do it.
Yeah. Oh, we also got to see Ord Mantell.
Yep.
Which is only something it was in the books, I know, because they think in the non-canon books that they do go to Ord Mantell. They do reference the thing that Han references in Empire, where he talks about running into a bounty hunter on Ord Mantell. So
yeah, and then even in the canon comics, they skip right over that. They don't show it.
Yeah.
In the new comics, which I always thought was weird that the Star Wars line wouldn't show that instance that they talked about, unless they plan on doing it somewhere else. down the line. Like, I don't know. But
By the way, did Sid run like a Dave and Buster's? What was that? It
yeah,
looked like it was supposed to be like a bar, but it looked like an arcade to me.
yeah, that's what. Now that you say that, it's absolutely a Space Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
But
by the way, we get another one of the we get a trope of the guys don't know that it's the Yoda Luke thing. Oh, the guy they don't know, the woman they don't know is talking to is the person they're looking for, which is really dumb.
And I do like that moment where they give Omega the armband, Crosshair's armband.
Oh, at the beginning.
He immediately starts using it, and I'm like, that is totally a thing my sons would do if you gave them that.
He doesn't know about stuff. Of course, like you give her something, she's going to start using it right away.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important things, which I guess will be a running thing, is that because it was going to be like something's wrong with Wrecker. Something's wrong. Something's going to happen with him, unfortunately, because they keep referencing that pain in his head.
Yeah. And then like another episode with no Crosshair and no Empire.
Yeah. Again, I would prefer if they were in it because I do like the cross look between what's happening and what they're doing, but they're just, I mean, it's called the Bad Batch, so they're trying to establish as much time with the Bad Batch as possible.
Like, I wonder if they're doing that so that if they decide to take an entire episode and it just be focused on Crosshair, because like you said, this is the Bad Batch. He is still a member of the Bad Batch.
Yes.
So if they decide to do that, they have already welcomed the audience that is like, hey, we sprinkled in him murdering civilians there. So when there's a full episode of him doing it, then maybe people won't feel so bad.
Yeah.
And that they won't be like, oh, where's Space Rambo and his friends at? Because I swear, when I made the realization last week that Hunter looks like Rambo, I can't unsee it now.
No, it's very apparent all the time.
Like, I never realized it before. I didn't realize it in the Bad Batch arc in the Clone Wars. I didn't realize it until last week when he's in the green shirt. I'm like, now I can't unsee it, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
And going another way, by the way, because this is an entirely different franchise or whatever, but I got Predator vibes in this, where there's a bunch of people being sold and they're like on the high mark and they're doing scouting and all that stuff. It reminded me a bit of Predator, which is kind of cool. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like this.
It was a pretty good episode.
Yeah. I will say, like, for the filler, quote unquote filler episodes that they're doing, they're pretty good. Like,
they're entertaining at least, which is helpful.
Yeah, which some episodes of some shows where it's just like, oh, we have a major plot point in 3 episodes. We gotta pepper in some stuff, like the last few episodes, and now this one they've established the bounty hunter thing. So now something big's gonna happen where they go on a mission and they encounter someone important, like Rex, or they encounter Crosshair, or something's gonna happen. But they had to pepper in these little bitty episodes to prepare for that.
And there might be a situation where Fennec comes into the orbit of Jabba and stuff, and then she gets kind of like engaged in, because she's just making her way in the guild, in the Bounty Hunters Guild. So if she gets like in Jabba's orbit, then maybe we get to see how that connects to Boba and stuff.
But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed. I always like waking up and watching these in the morning, because trust me, if I had to watch it before the pod or before this, I would not be able to, because after work I'm so tired I almost fall asleep every single day. Yeah. And like I enjoyed that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else for me to say, and I know we got to call it a day pretty soon. So, I don't know if you're planning on watching the Cruella movie, but my
yes. The original plan my wife and I had was we were going to do double feature of Quiet Place 2 and Cruella. but I think we'll watch Cruella maybe later on in the weekend. So yeah, it is the plan to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to my wife and see if we can shell out the $30 to watch it.
Are you gonna do Premiere Access?
Yes, because I don't want to actually go anywhere.
Okay.
Because I don't like people very much.
Fair.
On my weekends, I like to not see as many people as I possibly can because I have to see 200 people in my close vicinity for 8 hours a day during the week. So, yeah, like, and plus, today, as this is coming out, it is my son's 12th birthday.
Neat.
So I'll be partying for that.
Sweet.
Yeah, so
Happy birthday to him.
Yep, and yeah, that makes me feel so old. I am the father of a 12-year-old. Granted, I inherited him when he was 9, but still, it counts.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so we'll probably do that. But I'm off till Wednesday.
Cool.
So
I'm off till Tuesday.
Yeah, I took an additional day on Tuesday because, again, I don't want to see people.
I had today off. I had Friday off, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah, 4-day weekend. It's the best.
It's really neat.
But so you haven't? I know you're still thinking about doing your sports podcast. I have definitely tried to watch. Like, we were at a restaurant earlier today. Tried to watch some analysts talk about sports. Didn't understand a word they said, but I'm trying. So if you ever want the non-expert here, I will totally explain sports to you in the best way I can.
I got you. Our podcast is going to require a bit of research and stuff, so I don't know if it'll be your cup of tea. But my hockey team got ousted from the playoffs this week, and I'm a little bit bummed about that. So I'm focusing more on
who's your hockey team?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, okay.
But so I'm more focusing on basketball and other stuff right now at this point because hockey is dead to me now. So I'll be aware of who wins is the point, but I won't give a crap about anything else.
All right. I guess if you want to, go ahead and plug away, and then we'll call it this today.
Gotcha. So at Robert Kastner on Facebook, I mentioned the fan league stuff a bit. I'm in most of the bigger leagues competing. Like I said, my match with Ryan Payne in Full Metal went up on Monday. So if you want to watch that, that's cool. I had my fandom and multiplex round 1 matches go up. So if you want to watch those are cool. But there's matches coming out all the time, especially through the weekend. So probably have gotten a chance to see some of those. Otherwise, just at me, in Facebook. I like to talk to people. So that's it.
Yep. And guys, don't forget the SuperNova Network is launching on Wednesday, but there will be a video up on Tuesday explaining what kind of content that's going to be on there and all the scheduling and stuff. So, yep, that'll be good. There's the link. Yay. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you, Robert, for being a part of the show. I always appreciate it. And let's get out of here.
Don't forget